The great hall of the Kravaxian Empire fell silent as Emperor Vornthak's voice boomed across the assembled delegates. His forearms spread wide in a gesture of both invitation and challenge, his obsidian scales gleaming under the plasma lights. "Is there no one brave enough to marry my daughter?" he roared, his triple-jawed mouth displaying rows of crystalline teeth. "No warrior worthy of claiming Jennifer as their mate?" Jennifer stood beside her father's throne, her own scales a lighter shade of midnight blue, her expression unreadable. She had heard this declaration a dozen times before, in a dozen different star systems. The answer was always the same: silence. The Kravaxians were the most feared warrior race in 3 galactic quadrants. Their strength was legendary, their combat prowess unmatched, their tempers volcanic. To marry into the imperial family meant accepting a bride who could crush steel with her bare hands, who had been trained in 17 forms of lethal combat before her 10th cycle, and whose father commanded a fleet that had conquered 47 worlds. More importantly, it meant accepting the trial of worthiness, a ritualistic combat where the suitor would face Jennifer herself in the arena. No one had ever survived past the first minute. The bodies of failed suitors were returned to their homeworlds in ornate caskets, a gesture of respect that did little to comfort grieving families. The delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The reptilian eschatar avoided eye contact. The crystalline lumini dimmed their inner light. Even the proud Xantari warriors, who feared nothing, found sudden interest in the floor patterns. "Cowards," Vornthak muttered, though his translator broadcast the word across the hall. "Is there not one?" "I'll do it." The voice came from the back of the hall, clear and distinctly human. Every head turned to see a young man in a simple gray uniform standing up from the human delegations section. He was unremarkable by galactic standards. No claws, no scales, no enhanced musculature visible through his clothing. His brown hair was slightly messy, and his frame was lean rather than imposing. "You?" Vornthak leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "Human, do you understand what you're offering?" "Yes, Your Majesty," Alex replied, walking down the aisle toward the throne. His steps were steady, unhurried. "I'm offering to marry your daughter, if she'll have me." A ripple of whispers spread through the hall. The human delegation looked mortified. Their ambassador was frantically signaling Alex to sit down, but he ignored her. Jennifer's eyes locked onto the human for the first time, studying him with predatory interest. In all her years of these humiliating public declarations, no one had ever accepted. Certainly not someone so fragile-looking. "You will die," she said flatly, her voice carrying a strange mix of warning and regret. "In the trial of worthiness, I will not hold back. I cannot. It is law." Alex stopped a respectful distance from the throne and smiled, actually smiled at her. "I know. But I'm not planning to fight you, Jennifer." Vornthak's roar of laughter shook the hall. "Not fight? Human, the trial is ritual combat. Surrender means death. There is no other way." "Sure there is," Alex said calmly. He turned to address the Emperor directly. "Your Majesty, I've studied Kravaxian customs for 3 years. I know your laws, your traditions, your history. The trial of worthiness exists to prove that a suitor can protect your daughter, correct?" "Obviously," Vornthak growled suspiciously. "But it doesn't specify how that protection must be demonstrated," Alex continued. "Only that the suitor must prove themselves worthy through the trial. Every suitor before me has interpreted that as a fight. I'm interpreting it differently." Jennifer rose from her seat beside the throne, fascination replacing her previous boredom. "Explain yourself, human." Alex met her gaze steadily. "I'm an engineer, not a warrior. I can't beat you in combat. I'd be dead before I landed a punch, but protection isn't just about fighting. It's about anticipating danger. solving problems, keeping someone safe through intelligence and preparation. Let me prove I can protect you by showing I understand you, your people, and the threats you face better than any muscle-bound warrior ever could." The hall erupted in chaos. Delegates shouted over each other. The human ambassador looked faint, but Vornthak held up one massive hand, and silence fell instantly. "Interesting," the Emperor mused, his eyes gleaming with something that might have been respect. "You would face my daughter in a battle of wits rather than strength?" "If she's willing to accept that challenge," Alex said, turning back to Jennifer. "I've spent 3 years learning everything about your culture because I found it fascinating. About 6 months ago, I saw you at the Interstellar Technology Summit. You were giving a presentation on quantum field harmonics. You were brilliant, and I've been building up the courage to do this ever since." Jennifer's scales flushed a deeper blue, a Cravaxian blush. "You saw my presentation? And read your published papers, and watched your TED Talk on sustainable antimatter containment?" Alex shrugged slightly. "I'm not here because I'm brave enough to fight you, Jennifer. I'm here because I'm stupid enough to have fallen in love with the most brilliant, fascinating woman in the galaxy, and I'm hoping that counts for something." The silence that followed was deafening. Finally, Jennifer descended from the platform, her massive form moving with lethal grace. She stopped directly in front of Alex, towering over him by nearly 3 feet. She could have snapped him like a twig. Instead, she smiled, showing all her crystalline teeth. "My father asked for someone brave enough to marry me. But you're not brave, human. You're terrified." "Completely," Alex admitted. "And yet you stand here anyway." Jennifer tilted her head, studying him like a complex equation. "Perhaps that is true bravery. Father?" Vornthak studied the pair for a long moment, then threw back his head and laughed, a genuine thunderous sound. "Humans! Always finding loopholes, always thinking sideways. Very well, Alex of Earth. You may court my daughter, but know this. If you break her heart, no law in the universe will protect you from my wrath." "Understood, Your Majesty," Alex said, finally allowing relief to show on his face. Jennifer extended one clawed hand, and Alex took it without hesitation. Her grip could have crushed every bone in his hand, but she held him with surprising gentleness. "You really read my papers?" she asked quietly. "All 17 of them. I have questions about your methodology in the antimatter containment study if you have time." Jennifer's laugh was like thunder, but her eyes were warm. "Oh, Alex of Earth, you have no idea what you've gotten yourself into." "Probably not," he agreed, "but I'm looking forward to finding out." As they walked out of the Great Hall together, delegates from 100 worlds watched in stunned silence. The human who was too fragile to fight had won the heart of the Empire's most dangerous princess, not through strength, but through something far more powerful. He had seen her, really seen her. And in a galaxy full of warriors, that was the bravest thing of all. The end.